Hello again, everyone. It's This Week in Agribusiness meteorologist Greg Solgay. We're in for Max Armstrong. This Farm Progress Dateline Droughts brought to you by Genuity Drought Guard Hybrids. Hopefully you're making it the best you can, staying cool and comfortable, spaced out and watered down as they do on the same side of the livestock fence. You're doing just that across areas of the Southwest Corn Belt and out through the Great Plains. The latest run of heat wave weather conditions locked into position, showing no signs of totally breaking down, ebbing and flowing by a few degrees and a few percentages of humidity on occasion. But by and large, it's here to stay. Lower Missouri Valley points on westward. The weather news for this week, though, does include at least a modest improvement to rainfall prospects, where we've seen it a good part of this late spring and summertime season, with a slight south and eastward adjustment into areas of northern and eastern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Hopefully some of the hardest hit areas of Indiana. The rating, by the way, the drought the worst since the Dust Bowl era of the 30s. Maybe some degree of meaningful rainfall there and into the Buckeye State over the next 3 to 5 days. We'll take a look at graphic and rain totals here in just a minute. And basically the maps and charts continue to focus on heat as well, and more or less this ring of fire set up as systems drop from the northern plains into the Corn Belt areas of the Great Lakes region and through the upper Ohio Valley for the foreseeable future, winding on through the balance of the month of July. Well, on to precipitation over the next 3 to 5 days. And again, looks like some of the moisture amounts are a bit excessive in areas of central and southern Indiana and Ohio, but at least a quarter to 3/4. Some spots where we do manufacture severe weather. We have not talked about that or experienced it, obviously, in this drought and dryness of summer 2012, but some sense of strengthening winds, and some of these storms may make that right turn, that derecho effect. Remember, a few weeks ago we had a band of storms that did just that, raced through Indiana and Ohio with large hail and damaging wind. That could be the story with this particular setup of moisture over the next few days. Keep an eye to the sky, 1 inch to 3 inches into some sections of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and over in through Michigan. The overall precipitation pattern moving about over the next week to 10 days looks a little more favorable, with opportunities for some at least normal amounts of moisture around the Great Lakes region, northern and eastern areas of the Corn Belt. Tough go of it. Boy, livestock managers are really hurting for hay stocks already out through areas of Missouri and Kansas. Little, if any, organized moisture expected over that part of the country in the coming days and weeks. And here's the heat wave still holding on, this time a little westward movement out through Big Sky into areas west of the Missouri. Signs of maybe some cooling trying to get going over sections of the northern and eastern Corn Belt, in line to our thinking here just after the first week of August to transition back to more seasonal temps. More on that later. Here's Bryce Nornow with a look at markets.
Thanks, Greg. Farmers know all too well the impact outside markets and investors can have on crop prices. But for most of the summer, futures focused on weather, not Wall Street. Weather is still the dominant feature for the market, but concerns over slowing world growth did have an impact as well today, helping push prices sharply lower. Greece's new creditors from the European Union, the European Central Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, the so-called Troika, are looking over the country's books this week, assessing its progress at budget cutting to see whether it qualifies for more bailout funds. That review comes amid worries Spain will join the growing list of bailout recipients on the continent. There was also bearish weather news for traders to consider. A front moving down from the plains looked wetter, though hot temperatures will continue to bake the western Corn Belt and parts of the central Corn Belt as well. Soybeans led the market lower because rain now would have a greater impact on that crop. Futures started weak when the market opened late Sunday afternoon, with selling accelerating when European exchanges opened. Futures traded in a range of about a dime until midday. Weather models turned wetter for the heart of the Midwest, sending prices briefly down their 70-cent limit. August futures lost 59 cents on the day to close at $16.98.5, while November was down 64 cents to $16.22.5. Soybean meal, the market spark plug lately, locked down its $20 a ton limit. Corn prices followed much the same trajectory early, but were able to bounce back into the noon hour thanks to bargain hunting and a bullish forecast by Goldman Sachs. Then those weather models pressured prices. September corn finished down 10.5 to 8.14, while December ended 10.25 lower at 7.85.5. Wheat continued to follow the other markets, losing ground at all three exchanges, with losses of around 25 to 30 cents a bushel. Several tours are underway assessing crops from the Midwest to the Northern Plains this week. After the close, the USDA reported its latest crop ratings for the week, and as expected, they showed sharp declines. The percentage of corn rated good to excellent dropped 5% to just 26%, cutting more than 7 bushels per acre off my yield forecast, which now averages 121.5 in a range from about 119 to 124. Severe deterioration was seen in the two biggest corn states, Iowa and Illinois, though a few states that saw rain actually improved. Soybeans fared only slightly better than corn, with the percentage of the crop rated good to excellent down 3%. That cut my yield to just 36.5 bushels per acre nationwide, down 1.3 bushels for the week. This week's ratings essentially bring losses in line with what we saw during the drought of 1988. Spring wheat ratings also posted a sharp drop this week after holding up better for most of the summer. The percentage rated good to excellent was down 5%, knocking 1 bushel per acre off my yield forecast, which now stands at 41.1 BPA nationwide. Keep up with the drought situation by visiting www.datelinedrought.com.